Hello, my name's Andrew Stavist. I'm currently a freshman attending Eastern Arizona College, and with me today I have Ness. Why don't you introduce yourself, Ness?
Hi, my name is Nasive, but I go by Ness. I am a senior at the University of Houston, and I'm originally from Turkey, actually.
Wow, really? That's really cool. So how did you pick your current college? Like, how recently did you move from Turkey, I guess?
Well, I moved from Turkey when I was 6 years old, and we
Okay.
actually came straight to Houston, so I haven't been traveling within the States very much.
So not
Um,
like you came to the US for
no,
college. All right.
no, I'm not an international student.
All right.
Um, and how I picked my college was actually, if I'm going to be honest, pretty dependent on the amount of money that the different colleges were offering me.
Mm-hmm.
My current major is English literature and psychology. I'm double majoring, and I've known for a very long time that I want to go into teaching, and I have been particularly interested in getting a master's and PhD and teaching in college. So, with that knowledge, I knew in advance before I even started going to any university that I would be racking up a lot of student debt for going to grad school. And so I applied to the University of Houston because it was convenient. It's close to where I live, and they have a really great in-state deal, I guess, in that they
All right.
give you a lot of scholarships and grants if you were successful enough as a high schooler. And on top of all of that, although I'm not in the creative writing portion of the English major, we do have one of the best creative writing programs in the nation. And I knew that even though I wouldn't be taking creative writing classes, I would be having professors in the creative writing department teaching me for the English classes that I'd be taking. So those two factors were really prominent in part of my, I guess, decision making when it came down to it. Ultimately, I had to decide between Duke University and University of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I was accepted to both. And I decided to go with UH simply because I thought that I could potentially reapply to Duke for grad school in the future. And it's turned out pretty well because the professor I'm currently working for originally went to Duke. So there's still a possibility of that in the
Wow.
future as well.
All right, that's really cool. Did you start out at a community college and transfer over, or have you always gone here?
No, I've always gone to UH. They gave me a full ride. So
Mhm.
I was able to start away right away my freshman year. So I've been here for 4 years now. This is my
Wow,
fourth year.
sweet. So you've been there for a long time. Have you ever gone to like a career center there, or do you know about a career center there? What kind of resources do they offer for students at your university?
Right. Well, considering that we have over 45,000 students at UH, they do definitely have a lot of opportunities. There are regularly career fairs happening. And on top of that, we do have a career center where people can help you update your resume or give you some tips on what to do in interviews or what kind of resources uh, they could possibly offer you within your specific major. However, seeing as there aren't a lot of English majors and the department itself is small, I found that the best resource that the university offers me is the ability to work with other professors at a young age. It's not a part of everyone's undergraduate career to be able to work one-on-one with professors. And for people wanting to go into academia, I think that's the primary career resource that we need, as opposed to, trying to find internships or jobs directly after graduation. We need to build some sort of community during our undergraduate years that'll be solid enough to hopefully take us to grad school.
So networking.
Yeah.
All right, so would you say like their career center is really good and all the opportunities that they provide is like really excellent, good, above average, below average? Kind of where
Hmm.
would you rank them?
Well, for my specific major, I haven't seen anything remarkable
Mhm.
in our career center. However, for bigger colleges within the university, like the College of Business and the College of Natural Science and Math, two very prominent colleges that were actually known in the country for.
Yeah.
I know that there are over 5,000 companies constantly working with the Career Center and trying to recruit students. So there are other colleges where students basically have to work very hard to go jobless after graduation because the
Mhm.
Career Center is practically spouting opportunities at them. And like I said, this is a little limited when it comes to humanities. So
Mhm.
for my personal needs, I haven't found that the Career Center or the career fairs have been remarkably useful, but I do hear a lot of success stories. And I worked at the University of Houston call center for 2 years. And we would constantly hear that other alumni had a really great experience with them and that they
Mhm.
found their permanent jobs through them and everything. So I think it's entirely dependent on your specific path.
All right, that's good to know. Um, Now, on a slightly different branch, you said that you're studying like psychology and the humanities and English and stuff like that. When did you decide to start doing that, and like what kind of resources pushed you towards doing that? Did you like wake up one day back in kindergarten and you're like, I want to study psychology? Was it more of a slow, gradual step?
Well, with the English major, I think I've always known. Uh, when we were living in Turkey, I was an only child, and both my parents were actually teachers. They were teaching at smaller colleges in Turkey. And so once a week, my dad would set aside time to tell me stories from the Arabian Nights or Anton Chekhov or, other more classic stories for Americans like the Brothers Grimm and everything. And I was very
Right.
young at that age, and he's exceptionally good at storytelling, and it got me interested in the concept of books. So I was taught to read at a very young age, and I started on the world classics and everything. And by the time I finished elementary school, I knew for sure that literature was what I wanted to work with
Mhm.
for the rest of my life. And so the English degree came about that way. I think my father was the resource, but for psychology, I took AP psychology in high school,
All
and
right.
I think that got me interested enough to look into it more. I talked to the teacher who was teaching the class, and I got him to lend me a few books, talk to me about what a psychology degree might do for me
Mhm.
in college and everything. And that's how it got started.
All right. That's really cool. So it sounds like you've been planning this route for a while. You've always kind of known what you want to do. Now, again, a slightly different note. Do you know what an association is, or if you happen to belong to any, like, what are they?
Well, I tend to identify an association as a mixed group of people who are all working towards one goal. So there's some level of consistency there. And I do belong to several organizations. I'm actually one of the founders or creators of UH Cares, which is something that we started here last semester, right after or during Hurricane Harvey. UH
Okay.
Cares is, it started within the Honors College and it's kind of spread. Hold on, I think there's a lot of sunlight coming in.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It spread throughout the university, but originally, how UH Cares got started was the dean of the Honors College, who happens to be my boss, called me up during Hurricane Harvey and said, or asked me if I could set up a system that would allow people to sign up to help other survivors of Harvey. Given that Houston is a very large city, there were some parts of it that were significantly more affected and damaged than others. And
Right.
so while the hurricane was happening and we were all stuck indoors, I actually helped set up a system so that people could sign up and tell us their availability and what they'd be willing to do, because there are different ways to help. Like you can help with muck outs, so literally go into people's homes and help them move out damaged goods. And then you can also help with people who need their children taken care of, or
Mhm.
people who've completely lost their homes or need help with carpooling and whatnot. So that's a big organization that I'm part of, and we've gotten a lot of recognition for it. And I think we've logged over 10,000 volunteering hours just in the past semester alone.
Mhm.
So that's probably the biggest organization that I'm a part of.
All
Another
right.
one is the UH Bonners organization, which is a selected group of students who help give back to the community in different ways. And there are different branches. And the one that I work with is Global Prep, which is helping teach SAT to lower income students at schools where they're not necessarily getting as much personal attention as they may need. So we help with their SATs, we help them with their college applications, their essays, we help them get ready for college interviews and everything. So that's a pretty extensive, I think, project that I've been a part of for the past 2 years.
All right, that's really cool. Now, again, do you have any internships or apprenticeships lined up for after you graduate, or are you part of any internships right now, or like?
Well, I'm the student assistant to the dean of the Honors College, and I'm also his teaching assistant for a few English classes that he teaches. So I think I kind of have the best of both worlds at this point
Mhm.
because I'm getting some teaching experience, but I'm also working for him directly. So this could essentially be called an internship. I
Mhm.
guess I work in the Honors College and I help with the dean's projects like we have a fundraiser called The Great Conversation, and we regularly have speakers coming in, scholars who teach mini courses and
Mhm.
mini masters and things like that. And basically, some of the requirements of my job are to help organize those and get those together, and then help with the aftermath. So putting together reports to give to the provost or the president of the university and whatnot, or help organize other events that the dean is planning on having in the future.
All right, pretty cool. So one last question before we wrap things up. You mentioned that you've been going to school for 4 years. How far are you planning on taking your education? Are you planning to go all the way to a PhD and possibly a postdoc, or like what are you planning?
Absolutely. I have, like I mentioned, always known that I wanted to go into teaching.
Mhm.
And after being a high schooler myself, I realized that teaching college students would be what worked best for me. And the past year of being the dean's teaching assistant has only confirmed that. So after I graduate from college, which will be hopefully spring of 2019, I'm planning on applying to grad school for a master's and then going on to get a PhD so that I can eventually become a doctor of literature myself.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for coming here, Ness, and we'll see you guys later.
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. You have a good day.